this world truly has a gateway to another planet, it surely lies somewhere among the breathtaking fjords of Norway. Why is a land once the terror of Europe with its ferocious Viking warriors now the most peaceful and happy nation in the world? Are Viking spirits still encapsulating secrets within the thousand-year-old wooden churches? Or does the secret lie in the apocalypse vault holding humanity's last hope beneath the permafrost? It's time to embark on a journey into the heart of Northern Europe to find the answers to the great mystery that is Norway. But perhaps the real secret behind Norway's tranquility lies not in its grand structures, but in its quietest acts. In the 1940s, where a small object became the sharpest weapon of unwavering resolve. It was something very ordinary, something few people paid attention to, a paperclip. The Norwegians began wearing them on their lapel as a silent signal of solidarity, of always standing together, even under occupation. Years later in Oslo, a giant paperclip monument stands amidst the urban landscape, not to celebrate victory, but to commemorate the courage and strength of the collective. This quiet bond is not just a memory of a time of war, but has become a guiding principle for how Norwegian society functions today. It is a philosophy of life where the safety of the community is placed above individual convenience, even in the most ordinary daily habits. In Norway, buying alcoholic beverages has never been an easy decision. Every essential item is available on supermarket shelves, but there's certainly no sign of any hard liquor. Light beer is the absolute limit of what you can find here. Anything stronger is excluded from regular shops. If you want a bottle of wine or whiskey for dinner, you're forced to go to a single place. This system is called Vinmonopolet, a government-run chain of stores aimed at controlling and slowing down alcohol consumption rather than encouraging it. The interior is designed to be minimalist and formal. Opening hours are extremely limited, usually closing early and completely closed on Sundays. There's no such thing as conveniently buying an extra bottle of wine while shopping at the grocery store. This discipline wasn't limited to the domestic market. It helped Norway revolutionize an entire culinary culture in the East. Many believe salmon sushi is a long-standing Japanese tradition, but in reality it was a great marketing ploy. Before the 1980s, the Japanese absolutely avoided eating raw salmon due to fear of parasites. For them, this fish was only fit for grilling. To change that prejudice, a Norwegian delegation spent 10 years persistently persuading chefs and donating tons of fish to prove the cleanliness of Atlantic salmon. They infiltrated every television program, transforming a once stigmatized dish into a global icon. This campaign was so successful that salmon has now become the soul of modern sushi. Today, Norway holds the position of the world's #1 salmon exporter with an annual output of over 1 million tons. What you call Japan's national spirit and essence actually originates from the fjords of Northern Europe. Norway's influence extends far beyond its remote fjords. The country is advancing faster than anywhere else in the Green Revolution. Walking through the streets of Oslo, there's no roar of engines, only the silence of a new era. Norway currently boasts the highest rate of electric vehicle ownership on the planet. This is the result of a drastic tax and incentive program, making owning a gasoline-powered car more expensive and less appealing than ever before. Tesla cars are a familiar sight in every corner of the city. Currently, over 80% of new cars sold here are purely electric, an unimaginable figure for the rest of the world. Norway isn't just experimenting. They've set a specific deadline of 2025 to completely stop selling gasoline-powered cars. Here, the future that many nations still dream of has truly begun, transforming every road into a testament to humanity's dramatic transformation. There is a place where the sun disappears for weeks at a time, yet the night is illuminated by the wondrous dance of the universe. That place is Tromsø. In the 19th century, Western visitors were astonished upon arriving, calling Tromsø the Paris of the North because of the civilized lifestyle and refined fashion sense of its inhabitants. Despite living in one of the most remote places on the planet, the architecture here is a contrast between old and new. The Tromsø wooden cathedral built in 1861 stands as the nation's only remaining wooden cathedral. In contrast, the Arctic Cathedral, built in 1965, is a modern structure. Stacked white concrete blocks mimic the image of an iceberg, sheltering a 75 ft tall stained glass window behind the altar. To see the City of Lights in the polar night sky, the Fjellheisen cable car will take you to the mountaintop where the city appears tiny amidst the vast expanse of the polar region. Geographically, Troy lies directly beneath the auroral zone, the region with the strongest geomagnetic activity on the planet. This location offers a higher probability of observing the northern lights than most other areas of the world. The viewing season lasts from September to April of the following year, when darkness covers the polar region long enough to highlight this optical phenomenon. Even from the city center, you can still see streaks of green or purple light appearing in the sky on clear nights. This is the result of the physical interaction between energetic particles from the sun and the Earth's atmosphere. For many, standing under the night sky at 69 degrees north latitude to witness this phenomenon is the main purpose of a trip to Norway. From the end of November to January, the sun completely disappears, giving way to the mystical blue of the Arctic night. But just a few months later, from May to July, the sun never sets, illuminating 24 hours of brilliant golden light, completely blurring the concept of time. Long before Tromsø became a university town or a gateway to the Arctic, this land belonged to the Sami. The Sami heritage here is not confined to glass cases, but is vividly present through the colors of the gaki and the long-standing tradition of reindeer herring. This resilience is coupled with the flow of modern knowledge from UiT, the Arctic University of Norway. Located at 69 degrees north, this university, the world's northernmost institution, attracts researchers from around the globe, transforming Tromsø into a vibrant and dynamic city. This is a striking contrast, a center of knowledge in the heart of the harsh Arctic region. The city's balance is also evident in the community values in daily life. A prime example is the Mack Brewery, which once held the title of the northernmost brewery on the planet. Its long history serves both as a production facility and as proof of the need to maintain spaces for social connection, even in the harshest environmental conditions. Throughout the long winter, a local philosophy emerged. Koselig. Amidst the freezing cold, they lit candles, decorated the streets with lights, and maintained outdoor activities such as skiing and ice swimming to keep their spirits high. Leaving the academic setting of Tromsø, our journey takes us west to Sommerøy, an island known as the Malda of the Arctic. The access to the island is via curved bridges spanning the crystal-clear blue sea, connecting Sommerøy with the larger island of Kvaløya. However, instead of hanging love locks like in Paris or Prague, the bridges here are covered with wristwatches. This is a unique ritual for visitors before entering a land where time has no meaning. This peculiarity stems from a 69-day natural phenomenon. From May 18th to July 26th, the sun in Sommerøy never sets. For over 2 months, the concept of day and night is completely erased. You can see locals painting their houses, gardening, or children playing soccer at 2 o'clock in the morning as a normal occurrence. Because of this unique circadian rhythm, the island's inhabitants did something very unusual. They applied to the Norwegian parliament to be recognized as the world's first timeless land. They wanted to officially eliminate rigid opening hours and scheduling pressures during the summer. As we push further into the high Arctic, we reach the final frontier of human civilization, Svalbard. Sitting between 74 and 81 degrees north, this archipelago is the northernmost place on Earth where you'll find a sustainable community where 60% of the land is armored in ancient glaciers and the ground beneath your feet is locked in permanent frost. The most distinctive feature of Svalbard is its unique political status. Based on the Treaty of Svalbard signed in 1920, it operates as a virtually borderless territory. As long as there is work and a place to live, anyone can settle without a visa. The heart of the archipelago is Spitsbergen, the largest and only permanently inhabited island. It serves as the world's most vital living laboratory, where scientists from across the globe gather to study climate change and geology in its rawest form. Further north, at 79 degrees north, lies Nolsund. Once a gritty mining town, it has transformed into an international research hub. Today, flags from over 10 nations, including China, Germany, and Japan, fly over this civilian outpost, marking a collaborative effort to understand the future of our planet. Spitsbergen Island is home to the Svalbard reindeer, a unique subspecies that has evolved to survive in extremely cold conditions with shorter legs and a thick layer of fat. Because there are no natural predators here, they roam freely in this frigid region. Along the coast, herds of giant walruses rest on the beaches. Once pushed to the brink of extinction by hunting, these giants are making a strong recovery thanks to Norway's strict conservation laws. At the heart of life on these harsh islands is Longyearbyen, a tiny town that holds the record for being northernmost in almost every human amenity. Despite a population of only 2,500 people, it boasts over 50 different nationalities from Norwegians and Russians to Filipinos and Thai, all living together in a small international community. It's home to the northernmost university, church, and even an ATM. The environment here demands specific survival rules. Because it's located in the heart of polar bear territory, leaving the town without a high-powered rifle is completely illegal. The most famous paradox of Svalbard, however, is the ban on death. Since 1950, burials have been forbidden in the town's small cemetery. The permafrost is so thick and cold that it prevents natural decomposition. When researchers examined bodies from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic decades later, they found the virus was still perfectly preserved in the frozen tissue. Because of this, anyone nearing the end of their life or suffering from a terminal illness is flown back to mainland Norway. Even her daily routines were strictly regulated. Residents carry a small barred card, a rationing system that limits how much liquor or beer a local can buy each month. Deep within the limestone mountains, nearly 395 foot underground, lies the global seed vault, often referred to as the Doomsday Vault. Svalbard was chosen for its stable geological foundation and surrounding permafrost, which acts as a natural cooling system that requires no electricity. This is an optimal backup mechanism. Even if the entire power supply is cut off, humanity's genetic heritage will still be safely preserved in the deep cold within the Rocky Mountains. If the seed vault symbolizes hope for the future, then not far away, a ghost town nestled silently amidst the ice tells a completely different story of humanity's decline in the face of nature. Deep within the Arctic wilderness lies Pyramiden, a Soviet-era coal mining settlement that time seems to have forgotten. It used to be a bustling place with over 1,000 residents. The town was abruptly abandoned in 1998, leaving behind a sprawling landscape of silence. Today it is preserved by the dry, cold air of the north. Inside the apartment buildings, libraries, and cinemas, everything remained exactly as it was the day the last workers left. Soviet propaganda posters on the walls and furnishings in the room still lingered, as if the residents were still looking forward to returning the next morning. Here, amidst the rusted steel and empty streets, the only sound left is the wind, a testament to the power of nature over the temporary footprint of man. Walking along the coast leads to Barentsburg, Russia's only remaining active coal mining settlement on the island of Svalbard. Here, a vibrant piece of Soviet history, Cyrillic signs, and a giant bust of Lenin guard the streets, creating an appearance completely separate from the surrounding Norwegian landscape. Inside the local shops, cash is virtually worthless. Whether you carry Russian rubles or Norwegian krone, you cannot use them for daily transactions. Miners are paid via a proprietary chip card issued by the state-owned company Arctic Ghoul. This card is the only way to purchase food and essentials at the company store, creating a self-contained ecosystem where the employer is also the sole provider. While international tourists can pay with credit cards, for the residents, life is entirely cashless. Although Barentsburg is envisioned as a mining town, in reality, coal reserves are nearly depleted. Today, mining operations primarily serve to maintain its strategic location in the Arctic and fuel the town's only power plant. Recognizing the waning coal age, Barentsburg is transforming itself into a specialized Arctic research and tourism center, a necessary development to ensure this remote outpost retains its vital role in a rapidly changing world. But Norway isn't just about ice. If you head south, you'll see houses glowing red in the middle of the ocean. That's Lofoten. Located entirely within the Arctic Circle at 68 degrees north, Lofoten is a dramatic chain of islands connected by an intricate web of bridges and undersea tunnels. While its latitude suggests a frozen wasteland, Lofoten is home to a massive climatic anomaly. Thanks to the warm waters of the Gulf Stream, the harbors here never freeze, even in the depths of winter. It is officially the place with the world's largest positive temperature abnormality relative to its latitude. The jewel of the Lofoten Islands is Rena, a village seemingly clinging to a cluster of small islands at the foot of the Rhine-bringing mountain range. Here the landscape is shaped by sheer granite cliffs rising nearly 1,500 feet from the Norwegian Sea. From the mountaintop, the vibrant red wooden houses look like tiny chess pieces randomly placed on a deep blue mirror of the fjord. The contrast between the small human architecture and the immense grandeur of nature has made Rhine the quintessential image of northern Norway. Just a short distance away lies Hamnøy, the oldest fishing village in Lofoten. Built almost entirely on limestone and granite, the stillness of this village stands in stark contrast to the ferocity of the surrounding sea. What defines the visual soul of Lofoten are the Roru iconic wooden cabins painted a deep rust red. In the past, this color was a mark of poverty. Red paint was the cheapest available, made from a mixture of fish oil and clay. Today, these homes have been transformed from simple fishing huts into symbols of high-end Arctic tourism. Walking through these villages, one sees a cultural landscape that has remained unchanged since Viking times. Massive wooden racks known as gjell line the shores draped with thousands of stockfish. This is cod dried only by the salt air and cold wind. A primitive but perfect method of preservation that has fueled the Norwegian economy for over 1,000 years in Lofoten. The smell of the sea and the sight of the red cabins tell a story of survival, tradition, and a beauty that feels almost engineered by the gods. In the Lofoten Islands, there are hidden corners whose names tell a long story of survival. Kvalvika or Whale Bay is not just a pristine beach, but once a place where the ocean's cruel gifts intersected with the human struggle to survive in the desolate polar region. In 1963, a massive whale washed ashore, but the bay's reputation goes back much further. Because of the unique currents and its V-shaped terrain, large whales were frequently stranded here over the centuries. For the local villagers, this is a gift from the sea. They will trek through the mountains to harvest whale blubber and meat, an essential resource for surviving the harsh Arctic winter. This place boasts fine white sand and turquoise waters that look almost tropical, yet it's surrounded by steep, dark cliffs over 2,000 feet high. There are no roads leading here. The only way to reach the bay is by hiking through a treacherous mountain pass. Towering over the bay is the Ryton Peak. Standing at 1781 fort near its summit, a natural rock ledge juts out over the abyss, offering a perspective that looks as if you are hanging directly over the Atlantic. From this height, the massive waves below look like ripples, and the sheer scale of the cliffs serves as a stark reminder of the immense power that has carved the coast of Norway for millions of years. Amidst the tranquil life of a traditional fishing village, Hennings hides an astonishing structure where a passion for the sport is situated right on the edge of the Arctic Ocean. The village of Hennings is a cluster of small islands connected by bridges often called the Venice of the North. Instead of wide-open roads, life here revolves around a bustling natural harbor where brightly colored wooden houses are reflected in the frigid waters. For centuries, this village has been the center of the Lofoten cod fishing industry. At its southernmost tip lies a landmark that has become a global icon, the Hennings Stadium. Frequently voted the most beautiful football stadium in the world for its pristine beauty and incredible isolation. The stadium is carved directly into a jagged granite bedrock anchored on a narrow strip of land completely surrounded by the Arctic Ocean. Instead of stands, the stadium's boundaries are defined by the rocky coastline and rows of wooden racks used for drying cod. There's no room for thousands of fans here. The only spectators are the sea and the soaring eagles. This vibrant green rectangle set against the deep blues of the Atlantic and the stark gray of the mountains represents a unique harmony between sport and nature. All roads in Norway ultimately lead to one point, Trondheim, not because of its bustling atmosphere, but because of the weight of 1,000 years of history pressing down on every stone. Trondheim serves as the historic and spiritual anchor of Norway. Long before Oslo took center stage, this was the nation's first capital and the primary seat of power for Viking kings. Throughout the Middle Ages, it stood as the most significant pilgrimage site in Northern Europe, drawing travelers from across the continent to its sacred grounds. Most notable is the Nidaros Cathedral, the greatest Gothic architectural masterpiece in Scandinavia and the northernmost medieval cathedral in the world. It was built directly on the burial site of Saint Olaf, the king believed to have brought Christianity to Norway. This cathedral remains a constitutional cornerstone. Traditionally, it is the site of royal coronations where each Norwegian monarch must return to receive the blessing, solidifying its position as an enduring symbol of the throne. Beneath the cathedral's towering arches lies a haunting subterranean crypt housing a collection of medieval stone tombstones. Local legends whisper of ancient curses carved into the stone by long-dead bishops intended to shield the sanctuary from intruders. This air of mystery adds a profound layer of depth to the shadowed corridors of Nidaros, where history feels tangibly alive. A highlight of the famous Atlantic Road is the Stoic Sundit Bridge. It is a world-renowned visual illusion. From a specific angle, the road appears to drop off into the abyss, creating the image of a bridge to nowhere suspended over the churning Atlantic. The engineering and architecture are superb, transforming a coastal road into a stunning work of art. Those were stories about faith, and the path we are treading now is a testament to the ultimate courage of humankind. As part of the legendary Golden Route, Trollstigen is a marvel of gravity engineering. Opened in 1936 by King Håkon IV, it took 8 years of brutal manual labor to carve this path into the mountainside. Back then, workers hung from ropes over sheer abysses, using only hand tools and dynamite to create a ledge on the vertical cliffs. The road ascends at a steep 9% grade, twisting through 11 hairpin bends that require absolute precision to navigate in a unique tribute to the men who built it. Each of these sharp curves is named after the foreman of the construction crew that completed that specific section. As you climb, you encounter the Stigfosen waterfall, which plunges 50 feet down the mountainside. A narrow stone bridge crosses directly over the falls. As we drove through, a thick layer of fog enveloped the windshield, creating a surreal sensation. Despite its solid engineering, Trollstigen remains a road at the complete mercy of the elements. It is forced to close from October to May every year due to massive snow accumulation and the constant threat of rock slides. Even in the summer, the slightest movement of stone on the peaks above can lead to an immediate shutdown. Despite being called the Goblin Road and having numerous traffic signs featuring goblins, the only ones of their kind in the world, the locals actually have great respect for this legend. Nestled in isolation in Trondheim Bay, Munkman Island is a peculiar place where a dark past and serene beauty coexist in a small area. Long before it became a landmark, Munkholmen served a darker purpose as an execution site during the Viking Age. It wasn't until around the 11th century that Benedictine monks founded the Netherholm Monastery here, naming the island after them, meaning Island of the Monks. After the Reformation, the monastery was demolished and the monks seem to have vanished from history, leaving the island for the monarchy to reclaim. By the 17th century, the island was transformed into a formidable coastal fortress. Its thick stone walls and cannons were designed to protect Trondheim from sea-bound invasions. Although the fortress never engaged in an actual battle, its imposing silhouette provided a strategic deterrent that guarded the bay for decades. From the 17th to the 19th century, the island serves as a high-security prison for high-ranking political figures. Despite being a harsh prison, this place boasts some of the most serene and spectacular scenery on the Norwegian coast. Today, the silent echoes of Viking executions and the vanished prayers of the monks remain embedded in the cold stone, marking Munkholmen as a place where Norway's most difficult history is framed by its most beautiful landscapes. If there is one city born from the ashes to become a masterpiece, it is Ålesund. After the devastating fire of 1904, it not only revived but also underwent a complete transformation, abandoning its traditional wooden houses to embrace the splendor of stone and brick. While much of Norway is defined by rustic red and white wooden houses, Ålesund is a masterpiece of Art Nouveau architecture characterized by elaborately decorated stone, brick, and stucco buildings. This uniqueness is a rebirth after a terrible tragedy. In January 1904, a massive fire raged for 16 hours, destroying 850 wooden houses and leaving 10,000 people homeless. Miraculously, despite the scale of the inferno, only one fatality was recorded. The city's rapid reconstruction in just 3 years was largely supported by German Emperor Wilhelm II, whose deep affection for the city helped transform it into a stone fortress of beauty. From the Axel viewpoint, the city unfolds like a vibrant painting set between the Atlantic Ocean and the jagged peaks of the Sunmer Alps. Below, the Brown Canal serves as the central artery of Ulsund, forming a natural boundary between the islands of Norway and Oslo. Here, Art Nouveau architecture is perfectly reflected in the water, creating a scene reminiscent of a Venice of the North. It remains a bustling port where local fishing boats dock daily to sell fresh shrimp and fish directly to the locals. We are currently in the middle of Ganganger at top sheer cliffs over 460 feet high. This is the result of Ice Age erosion, creating a narrow but incredibly deep bay. Ganger Fjord is often called the King of the Fjords, a title earned by its immense scale and near-perfect preservation. Since 2005, it has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it is frequently cited as one of the best preserved natural destinations on the planet. The bay is a narrow corridor carved by ancient glaciers, flanked by vertical cliffs that soar over 4,600 feet into the sky. Below the waterline, the fjord is equally massive, reaching depths of 2,300 feet, creating a deep blue basin that feels entirely isolated from the rest of the world. Along the sheerest cliffs of the fjord, 7 distinct streams of water descend nearly 820 feet into the deep blue below. These are the Seven Sisters. According to local legend, these falls represent 7 sisters of such legendary beauty that they remain forever unmarried, as no man was ever deemed worthy of their hand. Silver hair flowing down the rock face in a perpetual display of independence. Directly opposite them is the Proposer waterfall, known locally as Frieren. The story goes that he tried to win the hearts of several women but was rejected each time and turned to alcohol to drown his sorrows. In front of us is indeed a large rock jutting out in the center of the waterfall, dividing the water and creating the unmistakable shape of a glass bottle. Perched on a ledge 820 feet above the water is the abandoned Skage Flow Farm. To get there, the ancient inhabitants had to climb a series of steep stone staircases by hand. Perhaps the most unusual phenomenon occurs during the spring melt. As millions of cubic meters of snow water pour off the peaks, a layer of fresh water several feet thick forms on top of the heavier salt water. This is a rare geological phenomenon where you can dip a cup into the water of a deep-sea fjord and drink water as pure as any mountain spring without any salty taste. Standing at an elevation of 4,842 feet, Dal offers the highest fjord view accessible by road in Europe. The most striking feature here is the climatic disconnect. In July or August, while down in the village of Ganganger are enjoying the summer sun in light t-shirts, the summit of Dal can remain locked in a freezing grip. Snow often falls here year-round, and temperatures frequently dip below freezing even in the height of summer. From this vantage point, the massive fjord systems look like narrow cracks in the earth, and the colossal cruise ships appear as mere specks on a sapphire glass. Here, time doesn't tick by the clock, but flows with the drizzle and the salty breath of the sea. Bergen. Bergen was founded in 1070, once the capital of Norway in the 12th and 13th centuries, and served as a major trading center of northern Europe for generations. With an average of 240 rainy days a year, the humid weather has become a defining characteristic of Bergen. Instead of viewing it as an inconvenience, the locals embrace the fog and drizzle as an inevitable part of life, creating a unique atmosphere not found anywhere else on the Norwegian coast. The visual anchor of the city is Bryan, a vibrant strip of wooden buildings that has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1979. These crooked, colorful structures were once the headquarters of the Hanseatic League, German merchants who controlled the lucrative trade of dried cod and grain. Despite being ravaged by countless fires over the centuries, the people of Bergen have stubbornly rebuilt with wood every single time. In the past, the very color of these houses was a declaration of social status. Red paint made from cheap cod, liver oil, and clay was the mark of the working class. White, the most expensive pigment to import, was reserved for the wealthy. Today, these colors remain no longer as a barrier of class, but as a vivid gallery of Norway's enduring maritime legacy. The journey continues toward a place without railings, no barriers, just a flat slab of rock jutting into open air with an abyss nearly 2,000 feet below. That is Priaslån, famously known as Pulpit Rock, is a massive cliff rising nearly 2,000 feet above the water. The summit is a natural flat plateau measuring roughly 82 x 82 feet. Its name is derived from its distinct shape, which resembles a preacher's pulpit jutting out over the void. This geological landmark, formed 10,000 years ago during the last ice age, is a monolithic granite massif that bears witness to the immense power of the ice. The enormous pressure fractured the bedrock, creating a striking angular plateau almost completely separated from the surrounding cliffs. Below the abyss, Fjords stretches out, a 26 wide expanse of deep blue water bordered by towering monolithic cliffs. To ensure safe access without scarring the landscape, Norway brought in Sherpas from Nepal to hand-build thousands of stone steps along the trail. This fusion of Himalayan craftsmanship and Nordic wilderness has created a sustainable path that honors the ruggedness of the terrain. Gone are the images of cliffs standing for millennia. We enter a future where the boundaries between urban and wilderness are almost completely blurred. The city of Oslo. This place is a harmonious blend of avant-garde architecture and expansive natural spaces. Beyond its status as an economic hub, the city is a vibrant expression of Norwegian social values where urban design prioritizes community accessibility and human well-being over ostentatious symbols of status. Located on the shores of Oslofjord is the city's jewel, the Oslo Opera House. Designed by the architectural firm Snuetta, this white marble and glass structure mimics a giant iceberg rising from the dark waters. While traditional opera houses were considered elite fortress-like institutions, Oslo's design is an open space. The roof of the building slopes down to the ground, creating a vast public plaza. In Oslo, the roof of a world-class cultural institution is a park for the public. This building is a tangible manifestation of the Norwegian social system, a strong belief that culture and public spaces must be absolutely democratic. In Oslo, development lies not only in technological innovations, but also in the effort to make every individual a part of the ongoing urban narrative. The journey through Norway concludes leaving behind awe at the majestic fjords and the magical aurora boreals and admiration for a philosophy of life. In Norway, prosperity is not measured solely by oil reserves, but by the perfect balance between humanity and nature, between wealth and humility. A country that possesses everything yet chooses to live simply and respect the world around it. That is the true value that makes Norway great.